Are you ready to answer the call? Learn more and find local volunteer opportunities at makemeafirefighter.org.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
Who told you can go this way?
You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey.
Who do you think
Excuse me.
There is no video or audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait a minute.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me?
Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this?
Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial toll free here and join us. The number's 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Tonight, it's Ian.
And the captain.
AnyPay 2.0 is here, and cryptocurrency payments are now faster than ever. If you're using Edge Wallet, Handcash, Bitcoin.com's wallet, or Dash Wallet, your experience should be pretty smooth. But some wallets out there just aren't ready for this impressive new technology. I'm talking specifically about wallets like Koinomi. There's another one called Exodus. Both of them great wallets, but they just don't have what it takes to handle AnyPay 2.0. And they need to get there because I want to see all of the wallets being able to do the payment technology that AnyPay has implemented. RelayX, Bread Wallet, they also need some help. So if you have any of those wallets that I mentioned there, Koinomi, Exodus, RelayX, Bread, go to anypayinc.com/upgrade. And you will learn there why those wallets don't work, but the other wallets do, and how you can contact the wallets that don't work, talk to their programmers, and let them know that you would like them to work for payments.
Off the top of my head, I'm wondering if the folks at AnyPay or, well, somebody else out there in crypto land, in the cryptoverse, if there's any value in having sort of a standards agency for crypto wallets, right? So, a voluntary organization that says, hey, if you're going to have a crypto wallet, here's where all the other crypto wallets are if you want to come up to the standard of what's going on right now. Kind of like I think it's the United Laboratories, right?
Yeah.
They're the
they do testing.
Yeah, they do testing, but they're not a government agency.
That's right.
Right, but yet they
Underwriters Laboratories.
Yes, thank you, Underwriter Laboratories. But they put their stamp on all sorts of electrical equipment, saying yes, you've met the standard that we have set by being this sort of independent agency. I wonder if there's some value in that for somebody out there, some entrepreneurial crypto person.
I don't know if there is such a thing. There might already be that, but all of the wallets probably aren't members of it, right? Because it's decentralized, right? So no one has to join any of these things. So if you want to learn more about how to help these wallet programmers get on track, go to anypayinc.com/upgrade, anypayinc.com/upgrade to help us out with that. So we've been talking about business owners that are standing up against these government crackdowns, which I like as a better, to me a more interesting topic than the crackdowns, right?
Yes.
The crackdowns is just the same old news again and again. Now they're shutting down San Francisco. Now they're shutting down, all of California, et cetera, and it just keeps getting worse.
Welcome to your new slavery.
But thankfully, we are seeing a few business owners standing up, like the owner over at, his name is Danny Presti, one of the owners of Max Public House in Staten Island, who was had his liquor license stripped from him, and then health department told him he had to close. Well, he kept the doors open. And
good man.
They arrested him for it earlier this week. I presume he bailed out because now the business is back open again. According to ny1.com, business owner Danny Presti, he said that we're not getting the support we need from the government. He's pointing out they're not paying him to stay closed. They demanded he stay closed, and then he has to pay for it. Well, that's not very fair. So he's like, well, we're just going to, quote, take it back at this point because we have no confidence in them to do what needs to be done, he said.
I have no confidence in them.
And they've proven that they don't deserve your confidence. And as our last caller pointed out, not only should he continue to operate the bar, he should not collect a dime in sales tax for these scumbags.
Which I think would be a natural result of the way he's conducting his reopening.
Right. If he's not selling the drinks, if he's not selling the food, but only accepting tips, then that would be a natural consequence. So a New York Police Department vehicle did show up shortly before 10 p.m. yesterday when he reopened yesterday. So arrested Tuesday, reopened yesterday. But it appeared no officers ever left the vehicle. The bar closed by 10 p.m. A patron of the bar, Ian Smith, said he was prepared to be arrested if city sheriff showed up again. Quote, if Danny needs somebody to ride in the back of a cop car, I'm more than happy to go with him, he said. Mayor Bill de Blasio said Friday New York City's rate of positive coronavirus tests was at 5.47%, which has nothing to do with how many people actually die from coronavirus. As of December 1st, which is the most recent date the city has on its website, the percentage of positive tests on Staten Island was at over 8%, the highest percentage of the 5 boroughs. Despite being a orange zone, which forbids indoor dining, owner Keith McLarney and Danny Presti not only allowed people to dine inside, but promoted it, putting up signs declaring the restaurant an autonomous zone, which I thought was really smart.
I love it.
Yeah, try to get around the state's restrictions. Max offered free food and drinks with a suggested donation. The state liquor authority said offering alcohol for free is not a loophole and that a liquor license is needed to sell or serve alcohol.
That makes me wonder, though, probably a little more than a decade ago, there was this thing going on around the internet this is sort of your early digital distribution for bands and stuff. There was this thing going around called the pay what you want model.
For the albums, yeah. It wasn't who released an album like that? There was
a bunch of artists did it, and it was sort of an in vogue thing for a period of time. And then, like, as a musician who was playing gigs regularly out at bars and clubs, I noticed bands were just taking that same approach with their merchandise table. So instead of saying, "Hey, this T-shirt is $25 or whatever," right, or this CD is $10 or whatever, they're like, "Pay what you think it's worth." Now, I just wonder if you apply
an interesting experiment.
If you apply that strategy to more than just this one guy's business, if that's a strategy people can use to reopen in defiance with sort of less risk.
This is an interesting business proposition, right? Because some people are going to be generous, right? And they're going to pay way more than what the thing is worth. But some people are going to be cheapskates, and they're going to pay way less. In fact, maybe even below the cost of what the thing is that they're receiving. So can you operate a business profitably with that being the business model? And there have been some interesting experiments in this area.
Well, and I'm just saying, as an act of defiance, right?
Yeah.
Employ that model for the duration of your defiance,
but that
not
won't
necessarily,
save you from,
to continue doing that as your modus operandi.
So it won't save you from the Liquor Commission,
right?
Who, as they point out here, even if you give away the liquor, they still demand that you have a liquor license. So they will arrest you over that. So it doesn't matter what they had that covered.
Yeah.
They thought of that a long time ago. Oh well, what if I just give the liquor away and then accept it? No, they've got that covered. So any providing of the liquor. Now there would be a workaround of bring your own.
What about self-serve
at a private club? No, I don't.
If you're
anything
over 21,
sort of
you just go behind the bar and make your own drink.
Any sort of providing of the access to liquor, they're going to come after you for it. But bring your own
Bastards.
would be the only workaround for that. So there was and I can't speak to New York's law, but here in New Hampshire, for a little while, there was a hookah lounge here in Keene.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get the liquor permit. They were applying for it, right? But it's a process. Right. It takes a long time. And you got to jump through all the hoops. And
if the wrong government thug doesn't like you,
you're done.
Yeah.
So they told people you could BYOB, bring your own beverage or whatever, and that included alcohol. So we used to actually have social Sundays at this event. So for listeners that don't know, this is a Sunday social that libertarians in the Keene area came to. So it was a cool place because they had like hookahs, so you could smoke inside, which of course smoking indoors is prohibited in New Hampshire. So one of the things they was a private club. So if you're a private club, you can have smoking indoors.
Yeah.
Because you're a private club. The rules don't apply. You're not open to the public. Now, anyone could come in and buy a membership, but again, still a private club. So you could smoke indoors and you could bring your own alcohol to it. So they weren't making any money on the alcohol, but it was, it did contribute to people wanting to hang out there, and then they'd order a hamburger or whatever. So they were buying food, but they weren't buying drinks because they couldn't.
The punk rock scene in Seattle, Washington did that, and probably still does, near as I can tell. I'm not that plugged into, and I'm pretty sure nobody's really doing anything in Seattle. But they did bring your own. It was all DIY shows. So basically, there was a place called the Morgue, and it was a secret place. Mm-hmm. You had to know where it was only by word of mouth, kind of thing.
Did you have a secret knock to get in?
No, but once you sort of found the block that it was on, you could find it pretty easily. But the DIY shows were all just donation based, right? So they'd have bands, they would just take up donations, or the bands would put out a tip jar, and they just played for that. It was bring your own. It was all ages. It was pretty great. But then there was also a club in Portland where it was a strip club, but there was no booze, but you could bring your own. You could bring your own booze to the strip club and have your live band on stage playing. It was pretty sweet. Yeah.
So, toll-free number if you want to join us here. It's 855-450-FREE. Is there a business owner standing up where you live? You want to tell us a story? Feel free to join us on Free Talk Live.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to generate an endless supply of natural silver solutions. SilverLungs.com. You'll find no wild claims or pseudoscience, just a lifetime of nano-sized pure silver solutions. The Silver Lungs generator allows you to make your own, so stop paying for silver solutions. The unique lung delivery system targets respiratory infections where other silver solutions simply cannot reach. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at SilverLungs.com. That's SilverLungs.com.
Attention business owners body slammed by overwhelming debt. If your business is in trouble, hassled by creditors, if you're frustrated, finally fed up with big business bailouts while your business has been left for dead, please listen close. There's a brand new fast-track bankruptcy. Some have even called it the biggest small business bailout in American history. Designed for individuals and their businesses. And look, almost no one knows about this yet. My attorney wasn't even aware of it. The truth is, beating the system has never been easy because it's rigged in a sense against the little guy. But here's the jaw-dropping news nobody's talking about. They've literally just changed the system so that you can beat it, but only if you understand how the new game has to be played. Find out if you qualify at pocketsoflight.com. This government-backed small business repair program is still legal, but may not be renewed after the election. Fight back fairly, fight back ethically at pocketsoflight.com.
Do the letters IRS give you anxiety? I'm Dan Pilla. I've defended people from the IRS for more than 40 years. My book, How to Get Tax Amnesty, created the tax resolution industry and is responsible for helping hundreds of thousands of people. It can help you too. If you're a non-filer or facing IRS enforcement right now, your case is unique. You need real help, not cookie-cutter advice. My clients get my personal attention. Buy my book at danpilla.com and get a free consultation directly with me. That's danpilla.com. Let's start solving your tax problem right now.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. The LRN.FM's social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want right here. The toll-free number for you, 855-450-FREE.
For
like
me?
freedom, yes, indeed, if you want to join us. Well, not you. You're sitting here. You don't need to call in. But everybody else does need to call in. You can join us and talk about whatever happens to be on your mind. It's Ian and Captain Kickass in the studio. We're going to continue with your calls and thoughts. Also, I do want you to know about Bitcoin.com, which is where you can go if you want to start learning about cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. In fact, it's a great website. They've got a getting started or get started area. It's right there at the top of the page. Just click on that, and that'll take you to a series of videos. You can just, if you're really time pressed, just watch the first one, the main one that gives you the rundown of what makes cryptocurrency like Bitcoin special. Why is this thing different? Why is Bitcoin worth $19,000 per Bitcoin right now? What makes it worth that? Why? This can explain that for you. This will give you some of the basics. And there's no better time than now to go and learn about that, because you don't want to be looking back in another 10 years. And, I can't make predictions, so we don't know what the price of Bitcoin is going to be in 10 years. Maybe it'll fail completely, or maybe it'll be $100,000.
Maybe it'll 10x again.
Maybe it'll be $1 million. Who knows? Yeah. And then you'll be looking back, and if you didn't get in right around now, you'll be upset. Because then you'll say, I should have listened to those guys.
FOMO.
I should have listened to those guys. But check it out, Bitcoin.com. They will help you understand Bitcoin and crypto.
I paid for my dinner this evening, a delicious smoked briskets with some coleslaw and a little bit of mac and cheese and an iced tea. I had the big portion, too, and, man, I'm full. Kirby's Q out in Allstead.
Good stuff. Yeah, you paid with crypto.
I did. Yeah, those guys are great. If you're up that way, please frequent their establishment.
Get on over to Bitcoin.com, learn more there, and we go to your phone calls and thoughts. We're going to start things out with Dave in Colorado. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Dave.
I wanted to update you about that Lincoln, New Hampshire business owner who was prosecuted, or possibly some musicians who were prosecuted over COVID restrictions.
Now, isn't this the supposed free stater, like libertarian guy?
I heard you guys report that this was a free stater, but that's the only place I've heard that.
Yeah, it's just a rumor. I don't know if it's true.
For those who aren't familiar, can you just recap what were the musicians involved?
So I don't know who the musicians were, but there was something that I think may have been missed by most people, is that what the Attorney General said, or what the Attorney General's office said about this. I don't have the exact quote right in front of me, but it was something to the effect that they were upset because two musicians were standing too close to each other while playing guitars. And it turns out the two musicians are boyfriend and girlfriend.
That's right.
From the same household even, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting because I do remember you talking about this previously, and something that occurred to me after when I was thinking about this particular situation was normally, in most states anyway, there's something called the artist exception or the onstage exception. It gives...
Like the cigarette thing?
Right, exactly. Like Doug Stanhope famously did his HBO special, or whatever, his hour-long special at a place in New York, and he actually went on stage with a lit cigarette and continued smoking cigarette after cigarette.
It's exempt because it's a performance.
The entire time. They're exempt because it's a performance. And now I'm surprised that I would be surprised if like that performance exemption didn't also apply to these people.
Well, this is COVID times.
Well, I don't care.
Well, all the rules are different now.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're right, Dave. That news has been out there about this particular incident. The owner of this bar in question, or restaurant or whatever, he does say he intends to challenge this ticket. However, it's not like the strongest challenge, because he's not standing on like any kind of principle. I read a story this weekend about the challenge, and he's talking about how social distancing and we clean this and that, and we're concerned and the whole thing. So he's trying to portray himself as just another obedient business owner, and that you enforcers, you didn't know that this couple knew each other, and so therefore you should lighten the fine.
Yeah,
basically.
The classic appeal to authority.
Yeah. So he's not really standing on principle, at least according to the article that I read. I have not met the guy. I can't speak to how he really feels.
That's what I'm saying about this performance exception might be a leg that he could stand on.
Okay, you could try it. But in this case, I think the best argument is that they live together, so who cares?
Listen to this quote from the Union Leader article. Quote, the New Hampshire Attorney General's office alleges that on November 21st, David Culhane and his business hosted a musical performance, a video of which was posted online November 22nd. Quote, clearly shows two guitarists performing indoors close together. Unquote. Ich weiß nicht das Wort, ich bin Einzelner.
That's funny. Dave, thanks for sharing that tonight, man. Keep us in the loop if you hear more about this, would you?
Vielen Dank.
All right, thank you. Danke. 855 450 free. Here's the story I think that he was reading. This is from the Union Leader, published 2 days ago. The White Mountain Tavern in Lincoln. David Culhane, who is the co-owner of the tavern, is challenging a $1,000 fine he received after a guitar-playing couple performed in violation of COVID-19 regulations. And
right, so just stop right there.
Yeah.
Like, how ridiculous is the world that a guitar-playing couple can't go to a restaurant and perform some songs without violating whatever the government thinks it should be.
Yep, and you also can't have indoor karaoke.
It's freaking ridiculous.
Which, of course, you can't have outdoor karaoke because it's effing cold. It's snowing today in New Hampshire. But they say if you have, you're allowed to have outdoor karaoke, but every singer has to bring their own microphone. So they have to disconnect the existing microphone and then connect their microphone to it, and then everything's okay.
I mean, I could make something happen with a portable sound system on wheels and just give everybody like a wireless lavalier mic or something. But I'm ahead of the game when it comes to audio.
That's right. How many karaoke singers just have a microphone sitting around?
Yeah.
They don't.
No, they don't.
I mean, I've got one. Okay, but I'm an audio professional.
Right.
You have a microphone at a karaoke because the average person doesn't have a microphone, and it would be ridiculous to ask a barfly to remember to bring a microphone to karaoke night.
Well, and usually only one at a time, at least. I mean, if you're a smart karaoke host, you've got a backup microphone in case.
Well, you usually have two. You want to have two microphones at a karaoke.
Oh, for a
duet
duet or something, right?
Yeah, duet.
Which would also be a violation.
That's right.
A karaoke duet.
Yeah, well, any karaoke is a violation if you're indoors. New Hampshire Attorney General's office alleges, again, that the business hosted a musical performance. Talked about the video that he mentioned. But the owner here in the photo taken by the union leader outside of his business, he's outside his business. He's got a mask on. There's a mask sign. I can't read what the sign says, but it's on his window here. So, I mean, it's hard for me to get excited about this guy. I'm glad he's challenging the fine, but he's just... Let me read his statement here. He says, I just believe it's an error in the guidelines that needs to be corrected. It's not like we had a 5-piece band. It's a couple that lives together, unquote. Well, I think you should be able to have a 5-piece band.
12-piece band.
It's
I don't
your
care.
business. You should be able to do what you want. Now, he's not the only business owner bucking the fine from the state. Alexa Furman, the owner of Simply Delicious Baking Company in Bedford, is challenging the $500 fine she received for similar violations, not with music, but just other non-mask wearing kind of violations. The Loudon Country Store was fined $2,000, and its owner is considering a challenge. Now, the woman in this case, she looks like the right lady for this particular case. This Alexa Furman.
Yeah.
Number one, she's foxy.
Okay.
So it always helps if you're, the person the
does.
government is picking on is attractive,
Yep.
right? An attractive female.
Makes for better news.
And number two, like in the photograph taken of her, she's not wearing a mask. So, like, she's not sending the same signals that this guy is.
Right.
This guy's sending a signal of, oh, I'm trying to be obedient, but, you just caught me on this technicality. So, going on, he wrote that in the it wasn't him. Attorney General Ann Edwards, Associate Attorney General, so not the top AG, but the second in command, basically, wrote that in the November 22nd video, there were, quote, customers seated shoulder to shoulder at the bar and customers standing and mingling in the bar area.
Oh my
Only
God.
one bartender is wearing a mask in the video. So, I mean, that suggests that maybe this guy who owns this business, maybe he is a free stater, maybe he is a freedom-oriented person, and he's just sort of letting it fly inside his business and not enforcing the rules, in which case I support that. But all of the public, angling of, oh, I'm trying to be obedient, you just caught me in this one thing. She wrote that a Facebook post showed a photograph of Culhane, the owner, quote, with your back to the camera, not wearing a face covering, while standing very close to bar patrons who are not spaced 6 feet apart, unquote. This is the second time the tavern has run afoul of the guidelines, the bureaucrat wrote. She said her office received a complaint back in October that neither Culhane nor a server was wearing a mask while interacting with customers, and the cook wore his mask around his neck. So, I mean, I'm not saying people shouldn't support this guy. I think that they should support him and encourage him to go further with this. But I also understand why he wouldn't want to lose his business. I get why business owners do this, subverting themselves to the state, but it does not help us. More coming up.
Having taken her father's throne, Sarah Calhoun has fallen out with one of her best allies, and her brother Nathaniel heads into Imperial Philadelphia with a reckless plan. Her uncle Thomas, armed with new powers and new allies, aims to remove Sarah from her throne and from the world of the living. To survive, and to gain the strength she needs to fight an impossible war, Sarah must unite the Mound Builder Kings to enact an ancient rite that will propel her beyond mortality. Servant Daughter by DJ Butler is the newest entry in the Dragon Award-winning Witchy War series from Baen Books at BaenBooks.com.
Bear, the rescue dog, had very flaky skin, dropping a lot of fur, and Levette wanted to do steroid injections. I was at a dead end.
DINOVITE.com.
Probably 6 weeks after we started using Dinovite, no more flaky skin. He doesn't scratch and itch. It was awesome.
You get some Dinovite, how happy your dog will be.
Every rescue dog in America deserves Dinovite for 90 days.
DINOVITE.com.
Want to accept Bitcoin at your online store? There's a good chance you already have what you need: a WordPress using WooCommerce and a Bitcoin address. Now all you need to start taking Bitcoin payments on your website is the AnyPay app on your Android or iPhone. Just paste your Bitcoin address into AnyPay, then connect it to your website with our one-click plugin for WordPress. Now your website takes Bitcoin, start to finish in 15 minutes or less with no complicated steps. Download AnyPay from the App Store today.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Stamps.com brings the post office and UPS shipping right to your computer. Go to Stamps.com to start a 4-week trial, plus free postage and a digital scale with promo code FOX. That's Stamps.com. Click on the microphone at the top of the page and type in FOX.
One more rally. I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News. A large crowd is awaiting President Trump at the regional airport in Valdosta, Georgia, where he's hosting a rally this hour for the Republican incumbent senators facing a runoff next month. The Democratic nominees also on the campaign trail today.
John Ossoff and Reverend Raphael Warnock, the two Democrats who are looking to unseat incumbent Republican senators David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler, trying to counter some of that Trump energy we're seeing here today with a drive-in rally of their own in Conyers, Georgia. And, the two Democrats painting the incumbents as two senators who are more concerned about enriching themselves instead of helping the people of Georgia.
Fox's Charles Watson. You can watch Loeffler and Warnock debate tomorrow night at 7 on the Fox News channel. The Northeast being hammered by the first nor'easter of the season. Thousands of power outages reported, along with treacherous roads and numerous accidents.
Coastal areas from D.C. running up to New York and Boston. It's been mostly a rain event. Interior New England, though, this is going to turn into a really big snow. We're seeing it right now. It's going to linger into early tomorrow morning. But those real big totals that people are going to be dealing with, interior New England, as much as a foot of snow, but getting into the Portland, Maine area, still maybe half an inch of snow, and that's going to be stretching down to a couple inches of snow into the Boston area.
Fox meteorologist Adam Klotz. The vast region of Southern California and a large swath of the Central Valley will be placed under a sweeping new lockdown in an urgent attempt to slow the rapid rise of coronavirus cases. The California Department of Public Health saying the intensive care unit capacity in both regions' hospitals had fallen below a 15% threshold that triggers the new measures. They include strict closures for businesses, new controls on activities, and take effect tomorrow evening and remain in place for at least 3 weeks. America is listening to Fox News.
Life can be stressful, even under normal circumstances. 2020 has challenged even the most difficult times of life. These days, you need stress relief that goes beyond quick fixes. That's Headspace. Headspace is your daily dose of mindfulness in the form of guided meditations in an easy-to-use app. Headspace is one of the only meditation apps advancing the field of mindfulness and meditation through clinically validated research. So, however today's news hits you, Headspace really can help you feel better. Headspace's approach to mindfulness can reduce stress, improve sleep, boost focus, and increase your overall sense of well-being. Backed by 25 published studies on its benefits, Headspace has 600,000 five-star reviews and over 60 million downloads. You deserve to feel happier, and Headspace is meditation made simple. Go to headspace.com/Fox. That's headspace.com/Fox for a free 1-month trial with access to Headspace's full library of meditations for every situation. This is the best deal offered right now. Head to headspace.com/Fox today.
Even with the record number of new cases and hospitalizations for COVID-19, the White House is hosting a slew of indoor holiday parties. Fox's John Decker has more from Washington.
The White House is planning to host as many as 20 indoor holiday parties this season, despite top health officials cautioning against indoor celebrations. Smaller guest lists and mask requirements are in place, with social distancing encouraged. But photos from a Tuesday White House event showed a crowded party with no social distancing and a number of guests without masks. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has scheduled a number of indoor parties, including one at the State Department, in which 900 people were reportedly.
I'm grateful to have heard from some of our satellite listeners recently. I appreciate knowing that people are out there who like what we do and are willing to support it financially. LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. We started a fundraiser on Patreon a few years ago to back the satellite channels. I recently announced that I was considering canceling the feeds, and donations increased from 15 to 20% of our costs, which are around $1,000 per month. That's a good start, and to incentivize more contributions, the Shire Free Church will be matching every dollar. Can we reach $500 per month? With your help, we can. You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both of the channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. fund.lrn.fm.
America is at a crossroads on many issues, leading many to ask, is it time for the president to blow the silver horn left behind by the Founding Fathers in case the country ever needed them? Of course, the horn, which has been sitting in the Oval Office since 1817, has never been used by a commander-in-chief, but many Americans think now might be the time to summon our forefathers. Which Founding Fathers would come back?
All of them. Look, when you have a bug problem, you call the exterminator. When you have an America problem, you call the Founding Fathers. They know what to do.
We have to keep in mind the Founding Fathers left us with a warning. If you blow the horn with less than pure intentions, it will turn to tin and can never be used.
But a president has to take risks, have the courage to admit that his administration is not all-knowing, and blow that magic silver horn to summon someone who is.
Yes, but what if we become too reliant on them and they disappear after the next new moon, as was written?
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything that you want. Our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. We're talking about business owners that are pushing back to a lesser or greater extent. In New York, we have the biggest, or the most noteworthy, I would say, of business owners. And also New Jersey, the New Jersey Gym, the Attilas Gym. They've been doing that for the whole time. They're amazingly heroic and brave down there. But just within recent weeks, there was a gym in Buffalo, New York, that actually had a group of people inside that yelled and shouted at sheriff's officers, getting them to leave, getting the sheriff's officers to leave the premises. A lot of people were, I think, really impressed with that. I've heard from a lot of folks who just loved watching that video. It really, helped them feel better.
Yeah. Well, also teaches you a thing.
That you can get rid of these goons.
This is how you get rid of these goons.
Right. Right. They are thugs and they are willing to commit violence, but like most bullies, if they're outnumbered, they're gone.
Down. Yeah.
They're gone.
But even if they're not outnumbered, oftentimes if you just confront them sternly.
True. And with video, it helps to have video cameras.
Does. Yeah.
But it really helps to have numbers. If you can have more of you than there are of them and video, man, they hightail it out of there.
Circling back to the earlier caller's question about what makes people
so obedient
is part of that is that human beings are pack animals, much like dogs.
Yep.
It's
true.
And, depending on the size of your pack or, what pack you belong to and that kind of a thing, there's going to be, sort of the alpha dog. And then there's going to be everybody else, and then there's going to be, some poor caboose dog, or maybe it's the other way around, and the alpha dog brings up the rear, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But, there's something to be said about human beings as pack animals. Now, normally, in a natural environment, a non, civilized situation, right, with no buildings and no cities and governments, the pack mentality would take care of this type of thing. If the bullies were too bullyish, a large number of people would be like, no, we're not taking this anymore, and take them out, right? And that's sort of,
But now they have badges.
Now they have badges, and
people have been trained.
12 years of indoctrination to make them seem as if they aren't the bullies that they actually are, and so that plays into it.
Oh, there's all kinds of there's all kinds of just mixing of terminology that confuses people. So they're called servants in the sort of the common parlance of they're government servants, when the reality is they're serving themselves. They're serving their masters in the state government, their politicians.
Absolutely.
They're not serving you.
Yeah.
But using terms like that confuses people. Oh, well, he works for us. I've seen this with the protests at the governor's house.
Yeah.
People saying, he works for us. Well, clearly he doesn't.
Or try to fire him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So
try to get him written up.
Yeah, and also, if you had a servant, why would you let that servant tell you what to do? I mean, they don't act like servants at any point.
Yeah. I would also like to see some sort of a report card from these servants on how well they've been doing their job. You used to get one every quarter when you went to school, right? So why don't we see every quarter from every politician? Why don't we see a report card on them? You know why? Because it doesn't work that way. That's not how it works. They're the bullies. You're the sheep.
So we were talking about these business owners. We're going to get back into it. You've got a story, Captain, about something happening out in the on the West Coast, Port Orchard, Washington.
It's near Seattle. It's an hour-ish.
That's a business owner standing up. We'll talk about it coming up here, but let's go first to Pat in Michigan. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Pat.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hey, Pat.
Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
Well, I would like to roll right back to your conversation. There's a film that I watched a while back about a king from the 1200s that stood off the English for 100 years, and he was only a young buck when he was put upon the throne. But his quote was, "The strength of the pack is in the wolf, and the strength of the wolf is in the pack." And that's pretty awesome if you take it into the proper context.
Nice.
But as far as my concept that I called in on tonight is how we have now become sheep and or lemmings here in America, is I'm going to start this off with a true story. It happened to me when I was just a young lad about 35 years ago. My ex-wife was pregnant with my first son, and she was startled, and I was away at work. It was the middle of the night. There was a prisoner that had just got out or escaped, but he'd come back looking for his ex-girl that used to live in the cabin that I was now renting on the edge of Bradford Lake. And
you can always count on prisoners to go back to their girlfriends or their mama's house every time.
Well, the thing is, she was like 6-7 months pregnant, and it scared the bejesus out of her.
Sure.
So it stressed the fetus.
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
And that is how high-strung people are made.
Sure.
If there's no stress in your life, you become a lemming and a sheep.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's nothing to overcome. There's no.
If everything is unicorns and snowflakes,
right,
you're never going to have a man in your family.
Right. Yeah, there has to be adversity. There has to be a challenge in order for somebody to rise to that challenge and overcome it. Have the opportunity for that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and what we have here is the absolute reverse, which is why everything is corrupt instead of correct.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. Everybody is comfortable for the most part.
Land of the comfortable, I keep saying.
I mean, even poor people are incredibly overweight, so they're well fed, right? Like, it's not like, if they claim they're not comfortable, well, that's probably their own doing with too many vices, and they're spending all their money on
they're
drugs.
Dying from the Clovis because they're not getting the proper nutrition because they're eating the government cheese.
I don't know that homeless people are dying from the COVID. In fact, you would think that would be big news.
Theoretically, the people that are of ancestry, I'm of old European ancestry myself.
Mm-hmm.
So we've survived all the plagues that humanity has sent upon the world so far. So I'm not near as scared as, because from what I understand, Mexicans and blacks are dying at a higher rate. But I don't know if that's because of lack of proper nutrition or some other, substrate in the realm of humanity.
Yeah, I don't know either, but whatever the rate is not very high at all. I mean, the people are generally not dying from this. It's just a huge overreaction, and it's ridiculous. Pat, thanks for the call, man. I appreciate hearing from you, and thanks for the story tonight. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. We were talking about business owners standing up, not taking all of the abuse from the government gang. I mean, usually business owners are used to being abused by the government gang, which is why they are so cowed and so obedient. And as this guy in Lincoln, New Hampshire, which is not all the way to the north, but his name is Culhane, David Culhane. He was fined for having guitarists playing too close together, but that wasn't the only thing. As the government bureaucrat who was interviewed by I don't know if it was interviewed. Looks like maybe this was in the actual threat that they issued to him. Fined a $1,000 fine. They claimed that there were customers seated shoulder to shoulder at the bar, customers standing and mingling in the bar area.
The horror.
Yeah, and so those are reasons to give fines as well, because those are violations of the governor's emergency orders.
Yeah.
And so the business owner, Culhane, says he takes the pandemic, quote, very seriously. As a business owner who has put in, quote, a lot of hard work, he said further, quote, it would be a shame to lose it. So that suggests that he kind of probably understands that this is BS, but he is afraid to lose his business, which is understandable. And further, the union leader says that's why he's tried to comply with the governor's orders and continue operating. He said Wednesday he's waiting to hear from the bureaucrats about an appeal hearing date, saying, quote, I'm actually confident they will be reasonable and reduce the fine, unquote. And I don't know why he's confident about that.
Yeah, why would you be? There's no evidence to suggest that they will be.
These people are not reasonable people. They are thugs, and they are violent, and they will destroy you, and they will destroy your business. Now, you can beg for forgiveness. You can say, I'll be a good boy in the future, but I don't see why they're going to waive this fine in any way, shape, or form for this.
I don't think they will, actually.
I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, I wish him the best, and if he pays it, then that's just going to encourage him.
Yep.
That's the problem. You pay the gang, you let the bully shake you down, he's going to come back for more.
They always do.
855-450-FREE. We got more coming up here. Your calls, your thoughts are welcome. We'll go out to the West Coast and talk about a business owner out there who's opened his dining room despite the threats from the government goons. It's Free Talk Live.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to DivvyProject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from DivvyProject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. DivvyProject.org. DIVI Project.org. Bitcoin.com is the best source for learning about cryptocurrency. Go there now, click on Get Started at the top of the page. Once you do that, you'll find a cornucopia of information, neatly organized for your needs. If you're a knowledgeable crypto user, check out news.bitcoin.com where you can get the latest headlines. Bitcoin.com is your source for buying cryptocurrency, getting a wallet app, mining, trading, and all the latest cryptocurrency news, all on a slick and easy-to-use website. All put together by the best minds in the business to teach you about cryptocurrency. Bitcoin.com.
What if the United States and the Soviet Union had fought on land, sea, air, and the astral plane, struggled for dominion across parallel dimensions, or on the surface of the moon? What wonders would have been unveiled? What terrors would have haunted mankind from those dark and dismal dimensions? Come closer, peer through a glass darkly, and discover the horrifying alternative visions of World War III from some of today's greatest minds in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. Weird World War III. Available now from Baen Books at BaenBooks.com. Having taken her father's throne, Sarah Calhoun has fallen out with one of her best allies, and her brother Nathaniel heads into Imperial Philadelphia with a reckless plan. Her uncle Thomas, armed with new powers and new allies, aims to remove Sarah from her throne and from the world of the living. To survive, and to gain the strength she needs to fight an impossible war, Sarah must unite the Mound Builder Kings to enact an ancient rite that will propel her beyond mortality. Servant Daughter by DJ Butler is the newest entry in the Dragon Award-winning Witchy War series from Baen Books at BaenBooks.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live, and this will be the Saturday edition. We're live. We're here in the studio, and we'll take your calls and thoughts about anything you want to discuss. 855-450-FREE. We are seeing some business owners around the country standing up and throwing caution to the wind and saying, you know what, you government gang, you're going to put me out of business. We're opening the doors.
Well, and I think you predicted this some time ago, where at some point people are going to sort of have nothing left to lose.
That's what it's going to take, unfortunately.
And I don't know,
relish it.
I don't know that we're at that point but we must be for some of these people.
They're breaking. They're at the breaking point. This guy's like, all right, go ahead, arrest me again. I don't care.
Yeah.
The guy in New York City he got arrested earlier this week, and he reopened yesterday.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into Port Orchard, which is out on the West Coast, what's happening out there with one restaurateur. But Ian and the captain here in the studio, we're going to go to your phone calls and thoughts first. I do want to tell you about Divvy, which is a cryptocurrency that has made it super easy to run a masternode. Now, a masternode is a special node on the network that allows you to get rewards for providing services to the network. And in order to do it, you do have to lock up some Divvy. And as long as you're running the node, the Divvy's locked. It can't be used. So that in order to reward you for that. So to get the Divvy, you have to buy it. And the way you would do that is through multiple exchanges, or you can just get it straight from the Divvy team. And you can connect with them through divvyproject.org. They've got a Telegram channel there that you can talk to them on, diviproject.org. You can't get an easier masternode setup than this. I've been through the process. It's just a matter of a few clicks after you get there. You have to install their full node first and get it synced up. And so there's a process, but it's a very simple one. They've made it super easy. divvyproject.org. Let's go to the phones to your calls and thoughts. First up, Joe is in Delaware, listening to WILM there in Wilmington. Go ahead, Joe.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Joe.
Appreciate you guys being on.
Thanks.
It's my first time calling. I was going around the dial, and last hour I came on to you guys, and I've been listening to you guys.
Welcome.
And like the other caller about calling other stations, I've tried a few times, but being nervous, like a little bit nervous I am now, but I feel a bit more cooler because you guys really let Americans speak their mind and speak for themselves. What my problem situation is, I'm a Republican. I lived in Delaware all my life. I'm 69 years old. Been a Democrat for a long, long time until Trump. What I seen Trump doing, how he spoke, he won me over. And his actions and the administration's actions have really, before the pandemic, started to give this country the boost that it needed. Now, I voted for Trump, but Delaware, having 3 electoral votes only, those 3 electoral votes went to Biden. So am I to say that the only freedom that I have was my right to vote, and that vote not be counted because the electoral votes counted for Biden? So did I not also get screwed?
Well, they're going to screw you anyway. I mean, I understand why people like Trump as far as he seems like this outsider or whatever, but what is it that you feel like he really did for you?
Me personally, but overall, the boost in the economy.
What boost? I mean, the government didn't get any smaller, so the taxes, didn't go down.
But in the beginning,
the regulations
where the administration was bringing back jobs to America. Some of the auto plants that had went to China, I think, or Mexico, but.
But what does it matter if they bring back jobs if the national debt keeps going up trillions by trillions? I mean, what is it, 27 trillion now after the big bailout package earlier this year? I mean, look, I hate to be the bearer of bad news for you here, but your boy Trump didn't really do anything to make the government smaller.
And from my perspective,
I understand. I see where you're coming from.
Captain, what were you saying there?
I was just going to say, from my perspective, voting is a farce, particularly when it comes to a presidential election. Your vote statistically doesn't matter. You are right. Regardless, even if your votes went for the guy you were voting for, it's still statistically irrelevant and almost matters less than you staying home. You have a larger chance of getting into like a car accident on your way to drive to go place your vote. Than you do of your vote actually mattering in a presidential election.
Am I supposed to be excited? Let's say Trump all of a sudden wins, right? Like he comes out of the Electoral College and they give him the election here and he get another 4 years of Trump. Am I supposed to be excited if we end up with after another 4 years, let's say a 35 or 40 trillion dollar government, whereas it would only be it would be 41 trillion if it were under Joe Biden? I mean, does it really matter?
Right. Yeah. What's another trillion, right? I mean, no dollar. But I'm optimistic. I mean, I do.
Why?
I've met Biden. Quite a few times here in Delaware.
I'm sorry.
I've been to his son's funeral here, and
did he sniff you?
Pardon me? What was that? I'm sorry.
Did he sniff you? He's famous for sniffing things, right?
He likes women, though. I don't know if he sniffs.
I'm a man. Not me.
He's too old, too. He's 60.
Maybe he's sniffing the incense. Maybe he was sniffing the incense.
So you were saying though about what you thought about Biden.
Still, I'm optimistic.
Why?
With this future administration.
Why?
Well.
What has any administration done to make you optimistic? I mean, this guy is.
Here's what's been put in my head in my state of Delaware concerning the picks. Kamala Harris, they tell me, couldn't get a vote when she was running, but now she was picked as VP. I knew nothing about her. Again, they in Delaware here in the Republican arena seem to think that Obama had something to do with putting her in there.
Why are you optimistic? You didn't answer why that makes you optimistic.
Why? I'm optimistic as to it going back to the Obama administration with China. China is my most fear. Of them, upsetting anything. You know how we got upset.
Why are so many people afraid of China when it's the U.S. federal government that is the one that is actually threatening us, that is actually harming us, that is actually destroying people's businesses and people's lives and putting innocent, peaceful people behind bars? Why is China such a threat?
I agree. I mean, at age 69, I hope. My higher power, I'm hoping I'm around for another 20 years.
Joe, I want to say thanks for the call tonight, man. I do appreciate hearing from you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Newer listener to the show. Seems, like there's some confusion.
I mean, admittedly, the guy did say he was nervous a bit, so I'll cut him a little bit of a break. But if you're not going to be a person of principle or stance, I'm not sure how you can make any sort of a conclusion about anything, really. How do you know how do you measure an administration's actions if you aren't standing on some sort of principle?
Well, yeah, that's why I asked, what are you optimistic for? And then he just went on and, talked about Kamala Harris or whatever. Yeah. And why would you be optimistic about her? I mean,
governments don't create jobs, right?
No, they get in the way of job creation.
They get in the way. They want to tax you, of course, at every level. So there's nothing there about the government creating any jobs. If the Trump administration wanted to do anything to fix the economy, well, they would just go ahead and lift all of the coronavirus lockdown measures at this point.
Yeah, they don't want to do that. They like this idea of destroying the economy for some reason, and maybe it's because it gives them more power. They like the power. 855-450-FREE. If you want to weigh into the discussion, join us on Free Talk Live.
Pounds and pounds of fur. Our hairballs have hairballs.
Our cat Mama, she's 10 years old. She has dandruff and an oily coat.
I have 2 cats, Dixie and Daisy. Daisy sheds like crazy.
If you love your pets as much as I do, you'll want to do what's best for them to live long, healthy, happy lives.
DINOVITE.com. I just tried this wonderful Catalicious Dynavite for cats, and my cat has been on it for 2 weeks. She is not scratching anymore. She's not chewing anymore. It is just the best.
I was thrilled when I heard Dynavite for cats was coming out because I'd seen the changes in my dog. To introduce my cats to Dynavite, I took the advice from Dynavite and put their food on top of just a scoop in the bowl, just to get them used to it, because I know if I even switch one little thing, they put their nose up to it. There was not one problem.
Dynavite for life.
You won't believe how happy your cat will be.
DINOVITE.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. chat.lrn.fm.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You may join us here if you want. Take control of the airwaves, bring up anything that's on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And did you know we have a chat server? It is called a Matrix chat server, and you can go join it by visiting chat.lrn.fm.
Whoa.
There are...
Neo?
Keanu Reeves.
Morpheus?
They're, by the way, filming Matrix 4. It's supposed to come out next year, from what I understand.
How are they filming it? Is everybody
Probably
in the film
with all
going to
kinds
be
of
masked?
stupid COVID restrictions. Anyway, check out... What the hell was I talking about?
The Matrix.
The Matrix that had me. Go to chat.lrn.fm and you can follow the instructions there to join the Matrix chat server. We just had somebody join in. A couple new people joined in just within the last couple hours. So check it out. Chat.lrn.fm. And for a long time, libertarians have been wanting a directory of freedom-friendly businesses. And they have it now in liberty.menu. It's also for events. It's for digital content creators. So if you've got a thing you want other people to know about within the Liberty community, you do have to be an individual who rejects the initiation of force and agrees to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. If that describes you, then you should be at liberty.menu, and you should list the stuff you do there. That way maybe you get a new customer out of it. Who knows? Liberty.menu. We go back to the phones, to your calls and thoughts. Moses on the line in Columbia, South Carolina, listening to WQXL FM. Go ahead, Moses.
Hey, my friend. How you doing?
Good. What's on your mind?
Listen. That last caller, he kind of changed, not necessarily changed my mind, but changed me to change my comment about you guys, because you got the libertarians, right? And,
yes, sir.
I listen to a lot of things that you say, and many times, don't get me wrong, many times it's like you guys being on a seesaw, because you jump from one thing to another. Many times it all depends on what you're dealing with.
Okay.
Right? And the reason why I say that, I hear you make certain comments about Republicans, and I hear you make certain comments about Democrats. Okay.
Yeah, they all
that's
suck.
Yeah, well, and that's why I said it. The last guy. I'm not sure whether he knew what he was talking about.
I don't think he really did.
we were talking off air too, that's pretty much, I think, how the average person is, that they really don't know. They haven't looked into politics enough. They haven't looked into what I like to refer to as the outcome of politics.
Yeah, he liked what Trump said, and then he went on to talk about how he likes Joe Biden.
Yeah. Well, I have what you say, cliche that I say is fear brings about bad behavior.
You have what bad behavior? I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Fear brings about bad behavior.
Fear brings about bad behavior, yeah.
Yeah. And it's a fact, okay? Depends on how myself, I like to use fear as a vehicle, okay, to get me from one place to the other one. Because I know that...
Does it get you to and from work every day, or...?
Yeah, it's like, it's just a figure of speech to get me from one place to the other one.
Okay.
Because depending on the situation, if I'm in a situation as to where I got to react to something, then the fear have to kick in. Fear caused my wheels to turn.
Well, you're different, I think, in that case, Moses, because fear can have the opposite effect on people, right? Fear can be a demotivator as well as a motivator. So in your case, you're motivated by it because you want to avoid a certain outcome, but others are petrified of whatever they're afraid of. So they'll just stand still, not do anything.
That's why I say fear brings about bad behavior, okay? But listen, and you guys probably, you may or may not agree with me, but this whole situation that we're in right now in this country, I can't speak for the world, okay? There's an epidemic that we're going through, or who knows, okay? It's still questionable, and nobody really knows where this thing comes from. We could point the finger at China, okay? But with so much doubt and so much mistrust in this country here, I'm like, in my mind, I don't know where this thing comes from. But for me, and just my opinion, I think this whole thing comes down to racism, okay? And I'm gonna try to. Because you just said a few minutes yourself about the epidemic that we're going through is having a strong effect on Hispanics and blacks.
I didn't say that. One of our callers
said that. One of the callers, but yeah, and I don't.
Somebody made a comment, but anyway, if you look at this now, and I think it's very downgrading and low, really low class on the American people in general. All right, to take all these urban cities like Atlanta, Detroit, whoever there's minorities and people that didn't vote for Trump. I think it's very disrespectful and untrustworthy to say, well, we're going to go in the urban neighborhoods and we're going to take those votes because we don't trust these people. That is so downgrading. That's disrespectful.
When you say take the votes, what do you mean?
Well, when they try attempting to take them, it's like our vote don't count. We cheated. It's like everything black people do, we don't do it right. Okay, so let's go over in their neighborhood and win the votes back from over them because we don't trust them. They didn't do it
so
right.
So I'm confused. Are you talking about this whole vote counting thing, and they're alleging that there were fraud in black neighborhoods?
Yeah, if you think about it, it's all in urban neighborhoods. Atlanta, Fulton County, you go Michigan, Detroit.
Well,
think about it.
I don't know. I mean, because generally it's these cities that tend to turn leftward as far as their politics are concerned, and I think you're going to find that obviously there are blacks in those cities, but I don't know if that means that blacks are more likely to vote for Joe Biden or Donald Trump. I mean, I've seen plenty of black people, considering where I am in New Hampshire, okay? I mean, New Hampshire is like 96% white or something like that, and there are black people at Trump rallies here.
If you think about it, you really can't compare that, okay? Because you go 96% and 4% blacks, okay?
No, it's not even 4% blacks. In New Hampshire's got more Asians in it than it does blacks.
But also, Ian is well-traveled.
Okay, and I understand that. Don't get me wrong. But what my point here is to this whole thing is, if you really look at it, all the cities that Trump is aiming after is urban cities. Philadelphia, okay? Detroit, Atlanta. Why is that?
I don't know. I wouldn't look at it as necessarily racist. I mean, I don't know. For all the things that they say about Trump, look, I'm the first person to criticize Donald Trump, right?
Hell yeah.
But at the same time, I also, like with Barack Obama, when he let some people out of prison, I supported that. So I'll point him out when they do the right thing from time to time. But for all the things
rare,
people say,
I assure you.
Yeah, but for all the things that people say about Trump being racist, I've yet to really see any evidence for it. And I've seen black people at his rallies. I don't go to Trump rallies very often, but I have gone to the, quote, stop the steal, unquote, rallies. Not because I support the rally, but because I'm just doing outreach. I'm talking about secession. I want people to hear about that. So I've also gone to Black Lives Matter, okay?
Right.
And, I've seen as many black people at the Trump rallies as I saw at Black Lives Matter.
Okay, let's back up a little bit for a minute, okay? Now, see, I'm from Columbia, South Carolina, like I said, and Donald Trump came to Benedict College, okay? It's a black college, it's true, right? And me observing people, one thing I do notice about the black population, okay, if you look at people like athletes, the young black people that's just trying to get away, okay? And just do something different. Okay, they try to eat the same old, regular, whatever the case may be. And there's a whole lot of influence involved into all of this, especially people like Herschel Walker. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to sound racist, but we take a lot of these athletes, okay, that made a big name for themselves. If you look at it, most of them are married to white women. Okay.
So what? What does that matter? Why? If I look at somebody and who they're with,
I'll tell you why it matters. I want you to understand. The reason why it matters, you see, there's a condition that if you get out of high school, go into college, the average young guy that goes to college is black. He feels like he did a great thing, which is good. That is a big thing. He gets go to college for free.
College is overrated, man. Hey, Moses, I want to invite you to call in again. I got other folks I want to get on the line here, but I appreciate hearing from you tonight. And when I see somebody with another person of a different race, it's like, great. That's great. Yeah. I support.
Do they make
people.
You happy? Far out, solid, right on, man.
I mean, whatever it is that you float your boat, And as far as races mixing together, I support it. Let's all be brown in the future, right? So that way people will forget about this whole race thing because it's so stupid. All right, let's judge people individually based on the actions that they take.
There's only one race, the human race.
The human race. Thank you, Moses. More coming up.
Warning, if you're drowning in debt you can't afford, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to pay it all back, because you don't. What the credit card companies don't want you to know is that there's actually a way to get debt-free without paying off your entire debt or going bankrupt. If you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt, you now have the right to let us settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. For free information, call Credit Associates now. 1-800-900-8407. We'll even show you how much money you could save. If you can't afford to pay off all your debt, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to. Call Credit Associates now for free information on how to get debt-free faster than you ever thought possible without debt consolidation or bankruptcy. We depend on your success and offer a guarantee, so there's no risk. For free information, call now. 1-800-900-8407. That's 1-800-900-8407. 1-800-900-8407.
It's not over. Sadly, our nation is going through tough times again, with no end in sight, and nobody knows what might happen next year. That's why it's a good idea to plan ahead, so you aren't caught off guard. Nothing's more important than having enough food to eat, and we're here to help. We're My Patriot Supply, America's leading emergency preparedness company. We provide long-term emergency food that lasts up to 25 years in storage. When grocery stores run empty or disasters strike, our foods will be there when you need it most. Act now and secure at least a 4-week emergency food kit full of tasty meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. We have dozens of emergency food storage kits to choose from. When the government tells you not to go out, you can have the peace of mind that comes from being prepared. When you order from MyPatriotSupply.com, your food will arrive discreetly at your doorstep in no time. Prepare today. Time is short. MyPatriotSupply.com. That's MyPatriotSupply.com.
Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for ForkFest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and ForkFest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for ForkFest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow ForkFesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the ForkFest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. Mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th, 2021. We'll see you at forkfest.party. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better, too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at MyMagicMud.com. FTL20, MyMagicMud.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live Saturday episode. Toll-free number if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Also, our chat server. Just go to chat.lrn.fm. You can actually call us through the chat server. Takes a little bit to set it up, but you just send the LRN studio account a private message and we'll get it done. It's Ian and the Captain here in the studio. We're going to go back into your phone calls and thoughts. And first, though, I do want to say thank you to Dustin H., who is a Free Talk Live Gold Amplifier. Dustin is somebody who has contributed to the AMP program. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. It is a simple concept. The idea is to help us get out there and get more radio stations picking up Free Talk Live, which means more people discovering this show and hopefully hearing the ideas of freedom, and maybe they'll get to some folks and get in their heads and they'll think about the things they used to believe and realize they've been lied to by these politicians on both sides.
It's the adult version of your parents telling you Santa Claus isn't real.
Yeah, we do it every day. So go to amp.freetalklive.com as we go back to the phones to Kirby, who's been waiting patiently there in Indianapolis. Kirby, you're on Free Talk Live.
Guten Abend. How are you guys?
Was that German?
I believe so. Guten Abend.
Jawohl, Herr Ober.
What's up, Kirby?
Since your man channeled Uncle Alfie, I figured I'd go there.
All right.
To your caller who was saying that black people and Hispanics and homeless are dying at higher rates, that's Trumpaganda.
Trumpaganda, nice.
Yeah, I'm 60, fat, smoke a pack of squares a day. I don't know anyone in my age group in Indianapolis who's even gotten sick. I've heard of some 85, 90-year-olds. Far as the homeless go, the building I work in is filled with computers and books. It's a public building. They let homeless in there all day, every day, and I guarantee you, if they were sick and dying, I'd know about it. In fact, they sleep on the porch between the columns at night.
Right.
In the summer, they sleep in the grass, too. So if they were sick and dying, there's a canary in the mine. If they were truly sick, I'd know about it. They feed them in the park across the street from my job every Saturday and Sunday. They ain't sick. They ain't dying.
So you're saying you don't buy it, and this is, as a black man, this claim that somehow this virus is targeting blacks and or other Hispanics, etc.
Yeah, because like my man said, you probably wouldn't agree, but that's racist propaganda. They want white people to believe that. It gives them maybe another excuse to look at me and mine sideways, especially if you're ignorant, trying to use nice words. Ignorant individual who ain't even trailer park worthy. And there are a lot of them like that. There are a lot of people out here who don't read, who just listen to what the media tells them and just go for it.
Yeah, and then they just, as you were saying, Captain, regurgitate whatever the media says as though it's a truth.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's like a verbal enema. And the Libertarian Party desperately needs to reach out to young people and quit giving us these milquetoast individuals with zero charisma.
The Libertarian Party is a failure. I mean, I wish I could say good things about it, but it's just...
It's a flaccid male member.
It's true, and it's worse now than it's ever been, honestly. I mean, I thought they had a semi-decent candidate this year compared to the last 4 or whatever, 3-4 they've had, but the party leadership has just been dismal. Like right now, the state Libertarian Party is embarrassing. Like they're supporting masks, and we don't support the government mandating them, but we think everyone should wear masks, and you're a bad person if you don't wear masks, and it's just the same old obedience, just repackaged in the libertarian version, and it's just disgusting. And every time I buy a life membership in the Libertarian Party, I always regret it. So I was a life member of the National Party back in the aughts, and then I quit in 2008. I resigned my membership, and I bought a life membership in the Libertarian Party in New Hampshire. So not the national one, but the New Hampshire one a few years ago when they sort of turned things around. They were getting good. Like Daryl Perry was in there, and he was doing some amazing stuff with Roger Paxton, and they really had a good vibe going there. And now they've gone...
But if you bought a lifetime membership, Why would you have to buy another one?
No, I bought one in the National Party, and I resigned from that. And then I bought a lifetime membership of the State Party a few years ago. So I'm not a member of the National Party. And I did that because they were doing good stuff at the time. I'm like, all right, you guys, here you go, life membership. And now it's like, man, now they're just pimping masks and getting into fights on the internet.
The only party I want is the ability to party on a Friday or Saturday night, which,
the party.
I want the party, and which has been taken away. I don't know, Kirby, how into music you might be, but nobody has held a concert in almost all of this year.
Yeah, I know. I got a friend who's got a band, and they were just starting to get warm and make money and get booking when COVID hit.
Yep.
This is, and it's all a pandemic, a scamdemic, whatever you want to call it. But we just need to wake up and do what our founding fathers did. I hate to say that because what's the phrase? We need a leaderless resistance.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's because they're going to chop the heads off of anybody they think the leaders. So if they can't identify the leaders, then they have a real tough time. Kirby, thanks for calling and sharing your thoughts tonight. As always, I appreciate it, man.
The other question that comes up repeatedly for me is, why didn't all you mask people wear a mask before the television told you so? If the mask is so effective against, all of these things.
According to the doctors who were here yesterday.
I know this, but this is a question that these folks need to ask themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you wear a mask before the television told you?
Somebody had to tell them to do it.
Because the television told you. That's, the answer is within the question.
Let's go to Danny in Charleston, West Virginia. Danny, listening to WVTS. Go ahead.
Yeah, quick comment about what you guys were just talking about there.
Yes,
the only reason I wear a mask is so I can go into the store and shop.
Well, I don't even do that,
like,
and they still let me in.
No, they kick me out, so I have
Really?
to.
Can't you just say you have a medical exemption?
Nah, I don't want to fiddle with all that. I'd rather just put a piece of cloth on my face.
See,
for 20
that's part of the
minutes and then take
problem.
it off and go home.
Yeah, see,
Well,
that's...
no, not necessarily.
Well, I'm going to tell you why I think that is part of the problem. And I know you were calling. I know you're calling for another reason, so we'll let you get to that. But the reason why it's part of the problem is because you are somebody who is going along to get along. You don't want the resistance from whoever might be manning the door at the business or from other customers. So you just put the mask on so you can get your shopping done. And I think there's a lot of people like that. And if those people wouldn't do the mask mandate stuff, if they would just say, nope, that's okay, thank you, I'll just get my shopping done, and if they demand that you leave, then okay, I'll go shop somewhere else. But ultimately, it's because of people doing that whenever I go into a store, it's 99% of the customers in there that have masks on. Now, maybe only half of them actually believe the masks are keeping them safe, and the other half are doing like you do, and they just want to be left alone.
See, that's the thing, though. When I do see people in there, I use that as my example. And if they don't make them put on their mask, I don't put on my mask either.
Okay, so now you're
I don't
saying...
wear it if they're not enforcing it. I don't wear it if they don't enforce it. Yeah, but that's still going along the things that I go along with it just to basically what you're saying. But, I mean, I understand that, but I do agree with that there's a lot of people who never wore the mask.
All right, well, what were you calling about then?
Okay, all right. Back when you guys were talking about the businesses rising up against the government and stuff, and the way you guys were talking about the cops kind of turned me a little bit.
Oh, really?
But I mean,
Why?
Let me explain, because you guys are calling them servants, and
They're
my
not.
ears, you're talking.
They're masters.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say that necessarily.
Well,
why not?
They're
Because-
bullies anyway.
Yeah, they don't act like servants.
Not all of them.
You can tell
There
a
is
servant
bunch
what to
of them
do.
that are. Let's get this off the table real quick.
Are you an
There is
officer?
Police officers out there, though. No, I am not, but I'm close friends with one who just got shot here recently.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you
I'm
have
not
a
trying to
friend
let my
who's a
emotions
cop,
get
and
involved.
he's a good guy to you, right?
Well, it was a woman. She was a good person, and she got shot over a parking incident.
Ah.
See, what I believe is when people are viewing cops in the light that they are, viewing them as not important, viewing them as masters, that they're always out to get us, they're losing sight that these people are humans as well, just doing a job that if they don't do it, they can't put food on the table for their
Do you understand why people have those views?
Yeah, let's talk about that. If you can hang on, Danny, we'll hang you through here the news. I hope you can, because I'd like to continue the conversation. Then we'll get into another business owner standing up out on the West Coast. That's coming up. Your calls and your thoughts are welcome. Join us on Free Talk Live at 8:55, 450 free. Full hour to go. It's the live Saturday edition of Free Talk Live.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now's your chance to be part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for everyone to use it in everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that's as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more, and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Stamps.com brings the post office and UPS shipping right to your computer. Go to Stamps.com to start a 4-week trial, plus free postage and a digital scale with promo code FOX. That's Stamps.com. Click on the microphone at the top of the page and type in FOX.
Back on the campaign trail, but not for himself. I'm Joe Chiaro, Fox News. Its outcome will determine which party controls the Senate. President Trump campaigning for Republican Georgia incumbent Senators Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue, who are locked in a tight runoff race. The president urging the crowd at the Valdosta Regional Airport to vote.
There's never been a case where a state has had this prominence on Senate races, because they're never together. And this is something that's very important, and you have to get out and you have to vote. You have to make sure you have every vote counted. Every vote has to count. You got to make sure they don't throw away any ballots.
The president also saying that he won and the election was rigged. The opponents, Democratic nominees Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff, also campaigning today, holding a drive-in rally in Conyers, Georgia. Warnock telling the crowd what a vote for him means.
When you vote for health care. When you vote for jobs with a living wage. When you vote so that children, regardless of their parents' income, know that they can have a great outcome.
Warnock and Loeffler debate tomorrow night from Atlanta on the Fox News channel. California imposing new lockdowns for Southern California. The Joaquin Valley hospital ICU capacity in those regions fell below a 15% threshold, triggering business shutdowns and a new stay-at-home order.
Officials in the Bay Area decided not to wait. They announced yesterday that they're going to implement the new restrictions starting tomorrow as well. So retail will be capped at 20% capacity. Playgrounds, museums, campgrounds, zoos, theaters, bars, live sports, and amusement parks will all be closed. Here in Southern California, Los Angeles already imposed a citywide stay-at-home order. That happened last week. And LA County also restricted non-essential activities.
Fox's Christina Coleman. America is listening to Fox News.
This holiday season, more people will be mailing stuff than ever before. Stamps.com brings the post office and now UPS shipping right to your computer so you can mail and ship anything from the convenience of your home or office. With Stamps.com, you can print postage on demand and save money with deep discounts you can't even get at the post office. Like 5 cents off every stamp, up to 40% off priority mail, and up to 62% off UPS shipping rates. Print official stamps and labels right from your computer for any letter, package, or class of mail, anywhere you want to send. Once your mail's ready, schedule a pickup or drop it off. It's a no-brainer. Don't spend a minute of this holiday season at the post office. Right now, listeners get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale with no long-term commitment. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in Fox. Stamps.com. Enter Fox. Go right now to Stamps.com. Enter Fox.
Don't expect a big gathering at next month's presidential inauguration, Fox's Chris DeMeo explains.
It's expected to be quiet for the gathering on January 20th. President-elect Joe Biden saying it's highly unlikely there'll be 1 million people cheering at the National Mall. The president-elect saying keeping people safe during the pandemic is his first consideration for the inauguration. He suggested the festivities could end up looking a lot like the virtual convention the Democrats had back in August. Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
An Alabama law enforcement's Christmas message causing controversy.
An Alabama sheriff's office is being criticized for displaying a Christmas tree that had what they call thug shots of people who were arrested decorated on it. The
U.S. officials assure Hong Kong that their protest is just one of many issues the White House is staying silent on, and an old guy at a hostel is down to party. This is the Onion Week in Review. Stunned officials from the Marine Conservation Institute announced this week that the past half-century of climate change and habitat loss somehow hasn't managed to take down the parrotfish. Biologists stress that despite destructive chemical runoff, rising ocean temperatures, and overfishing, the persistent little shits were somehow plugging right along like nothing had even happened.
You look at the oil spills, greenhouse gases, and God knows what else we're throwing at them, and you think, yeah, those subtropical should have been wiped out decades ago. But nope, these sons of bitches are still around and doing better than ever.
In other news, a grasshopper is dismembered by a future Supreme Court justice. A man having a great time will soon have to apologize to everyone, and Rand Paul pretends to be asleep so his dad will carry him in from the car.
This is the Onion News Network.
The Surgeon General warns teens the cinnamon challenge is not for pussies. Taylor Swift is now dating the Watertown boat, and a middle-aged funeral director buys a flashy red hearse. We pity your pathetic dependence on this for your weekly news, but here we go anyway. This is the Onion Week in Review. A study released this week by the National Institutes of Health confirmed that for the 25th straight year, wolf attacks remain the leading cause of death in the United States. The Human Health Agency's findings confirmed that being viciously killed by a ravenous wolf claimed the lives of over 800,000 Americans last year alone, with researchers adding that one person in the United States dies every 40 seconds from a violent wolf attack.
The mortality rate associated with wolf attacks vastly outstrips the death tolls of cancer, stroke, and chronic respiratory disease. People should know that anyone... Oh, Jesus, no.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live. It's Free Talk Live. You bring up what you want, if you want. Otherwise, sit back and enjoy.
Klaatu Verata Niktu.
What's with all this foreign language tonight?
I believe it's Verata, not Verata. I misspoke.
Is that Latin?
I don't. It's from the Evil Dead movie. Those were the secret words he had to say to get the book back. And
I've only seen the third one. I actually never seen the first two.
Okay, well then you're not in on it.
I'm missing out.
But you said we could bring up anything we want, I just wanted to bring up those three words.
There you go. And you, what I meant was you, the caller, can bring up anything you want. I mean,
you were looking right at me.
Obviously, we can too. But go to freetalklive.com, download archives. There's more stuff to do there as well. But if you want to join us on the air, call in toll free at 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Now, Danny in Charleston hung on through the news as I invited him to do so. He wanted to talk about what we were saying about police earlier. And Danny, can you go ahead and just recap the point that you were trying to make for our listeners that just started, tuned in?
Yes. when you guys were talking about the businesses rising up against the police and government, you were using words that kind of turned me a little bit like servants and masters, that they're bullies. And I just wanted to bring my opinion in that the police are people too. Now, people with power, there's going to be corrupted ones.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also good ones out there too. When you treat them all like they are, it creates additional conflict. And
now I treat people as individuals. Okay, so I understand.
Exactly. That's how you should.
I do.
However, you tell me, when you get
however, if one of these quote good cops shows up at a business and tells that business that if they don't do X, Y, and Z, that they're going to put them out of business, are they being a good person?
Now, that's where we can draw a thin line, because they're just doing their job as well.
Does that make it okay?
If they don't, yeah. Now, that's the problem is that they're being mandated to do it. Like, if they don't do it, they can lose their job. They're like,
well, so police have this thing called discretion.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, but
now
it's the matter of whether they believe what they're doing.
So wait, are you saying that these cops are actually cowards? That they're going to hurt somebody's business because they're afraid of losing their jobs?
I'm saying some may be. Some may be just enforcing, and some may just be doing their job. Some may be doing what they believe is right. But there's different people on every side of the line.
Mm-hmm. So if a cop,
especially now, where's a cop going to go if they lose their job? Though
there's all kinds of other jobs. Well. Right around here in downtown Keene, there's now hiring signs up everywhere. They could get a job where they're actually helping people.
But I wanted to ask the caller if Danny, do you understand why police have the reputation that they do?
Yeah, they don't. Okay, I understand that, because there's a lot of police brutality in the news.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of ill enforcement of their powers. Like, in a backwater state that I'm in, I have never really seen that. I can only go by what's on the news, and I'm not the kind of person.
It's not just about brutality.
Yeah, it's not just about that. It's because they are the agents of force. They have a monopoly on the initiation
that's the way this world treats them,
of violence.
And that's the main problem. They are treated like that.
Now, if the police wanted to right their reputation, and if they're such a tight brotherhood as they claim to be, it would be very, very easy.
They are in some places, yeah.
It would be very easy for them all to get together and go, okay, guess what? We're not going to enforce any laws that don't have a victim. And
then
exactly. Cheer them on.
New York,
and their reputation would instantly change.
But what's that? Hold on. What was that, Danny? You said about New York? What?
Yeah, New York, the police were fighting back against Cuomo. They were like, we're not going to look in the windows of people's houses and be like, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4. There was cops denying those orders straight out in New York.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, because that's what we were talking about earlier with discretion. That's where a police officer can say to a politician, they can say, hey, you politicians, this law is wrong. This law hurts people. Okay. This law is unconstitutional, and they can refuse to enforce it. And they should refuse to enforce it. That's what you were saying, right, Captain? That's what they should do.
Not every police officer is courageous enough to go against.
No, in fact, most of them are not. The supermajority of them are not courageous enough.
Yeah. And we should support the officers when they do.
And I have. If there's ever an instance where a police officer actually does the right thing, I will thank them for it, and I will let them know that I appreciate that sort of thing. Unfortunately, their job is generally to violate the rights of other human beings. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's just the facts.
Back to my original point, though, because we did get off on a little bit of tangent there, and I agree with a lot of the stuff you guys say. But when we paint all the cops in such a negative light because of the ones that do that, I do believe that they should do exactly what you say and stand up against rules that they don't think is right or laws that they pass. But
they don't.
People, not just you guys, there's tons of news outlets out there that would be like, police are evil. There's a lot of groups out there that believe the police are evil, like in New York. There's I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but and I watch all these I watch all these sources talking about cops are just here to do this. They're not here to protect the people. When people look at those types of news sources, Yeah, I believe it implants a bit of negativity in the back of their heads because every interaction I've ever had with a cop, who, regardless of who it is, yeah, they've been a little fucking rude.
Okay, we can't let you say that on the radio. We got to drop your call there. I apologize about that, dude, but you can't say the F word on the radio. But it sounds like he had some negative interactions with some of the police, but ultimately they didn't crack his head against the pavement, so therefore, etc. Look, if there were good cops out there of, even a semi-small number of them, then, maybe they could actually go and arrest the bad cops, but they aren't in the majority of the police. The majority of the police do exactly what they're told to do. If they're secretly good at heart, well, they're going out there and they're doing bad things to people.
And the thing I want to point out to the caller, Danny, hopefully you're still listening, is what the police don't have is incentive to do the right thing.
That's right, yeah. Because they're a monopoly.
They have no incentive to do what's principled, to do the right thing at all. In fact, they have a negative incentive, and that is to just blindly enforce every law that they're aware of.
How else are they going to get a promotion? I mean, they got to appease their masters.
Right. So they have no incentive. Now, how would they get some incentive? Well, by not being a force for a monopoly on violence. That's how you get incentive. If they were an independent security agency that I could contract with to protect my property, or me and my neighbors get together to protect our neighborhood, and they did a poor job, well, we could go and hire a different agency to do that if they didn't live up to their contract or the standards that we wanted. But you can't do that with the police. You can't just fire them and hire a better agency to do a better job, because guess what? You can't.
Right, and it's the cops themselves that will come and throw you out of your home. If I decided, for instance, I'm not happy with what the Keene Police Department has done, or the Cheshire County Sheriffs, or the state police here in New Hampshire, if I said, I'm not happy with your service, I don't appreciate that you shot that man in the back over there, or whatever it was they did, and I'm just going to not pay for that portion of the property taxes that I have been issued. Well, after a couple of years, the city of Keene would, of course, they'd send notice after notice saying, hey, you owe us this money. Well, how did I come to owe you that money? Well, you bought a piece of property. Well, whatever. Anyway, I don't think that I legitimately owe them. The only reason I pay them is because I don't have another home that I can just go into when they steal this one, because that's what they're going to do. 2 years after the payment is in arrears, they put the tax auction up, or the tax sale. They take the house on paper, basically. They go to an auction, they say, all right, who's going to bid the highest for this house? Okay, high bidder, you win. And then the high bidder pays off whatever the amount of property taxes were that were in arrears. They then transfer the title to that high bidder, and then I become a squatter in my own home legally, even though I'm the one who paid for the home. I then am a squatter in my own home because I'm not there under a lease, and this new guy owns it, and he says, I want that person out of my house. And then the cops come, and they will then, if I don't leave on my own at that point, with their guns, they will then use their guns and their tasers and whatever other tools they have to subject, me to them.
And physically remove you. And if you resist, they purport the authority to end your freaking life.
They do, and they would. So that's a monopoly for you. That's the kind of service you get from a monopoly service provider. You either do what they say, or
else
they hurt you. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves here. This is Free Talk Live.
Mounds and mounds of fur. Our hairballs have hairballs.
Our cat Mama, she's 10 years old. She has dandruff and an oily coat.
I have two cats, Dixie and Daisy. Daisy sheds like crazy.
If you love your pets as much as I do, you want to do what's best for them, to live long, healthy, happy lives.
DINOVITE.com. I just tried this wonderful Catalicious Dynavite for cats, and my cat has been on it for 2 weeks. She is not scratching anymore. She's not chewing anymore. It is just the best.
I was thrilled when I heard Dynavite for cats was coming out because I'd seen the changes in my dog. To introduce my cat to Dynavite, I took the advice from Dynavite and put their food on top of just a scoop in the bowl, just to get them used to it, because I know if I even switch one little thing, they put their nose up to it. There was not one problem.
Dynavite for life.
You won't believe how happy your cat will be.
DINOVITE.com.
Freedom! Freedom is the call of the untamed Scotsman and all others that want to feel the wind under their kilts.
At Free Talk Live, we love the breezy, swinging feeling that only a kilt from Sport Kilt can give.
We teamed up with Sport Kilt to let you experience their form of freedom at a discount. Go to kilts.freetalklive.com and see a picture of Richie and me in our kilts.
And then head over to sportkilt.com. Get some stylish freedom for yourself and use code FTL for a 10% discount. Sportkilt.com.
What if the United States and the Soviet Union had fought on land, sea, air, and the astral plane, struggled for dominion across parallel dimensions or on the surface of the moon? What wonders would have been unveiled? What terrors would have haunted mankind from those dark and dismal dimensions? Come closer, peer through a glass darkly, and discover the horrifying alternative visions of World War III from some of today's greatest minds in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. Weird World War III. Available now from Baen Books at BaenBooks.com.
Hi, I'm Montel Williams. Most of you know me as a talk show host, but I'm also an author, actor, single father of 4, a fitness writer, avid snowboarder, and I'm also a medical marijuana patient. Like many of the million people who are living with multiple sclerosis, I'm in pain every single day. And sometimes my nerves are so raw that if you brushed up against me in an elevator, I'd scream. I can't sleep at night from the pain, and sometimes the spasms in my legs are so intense they will wake me up throughout the night. I've tried the strongest prescription medications available, and I'm going to tell you, they do not work. In fact, they leave me in a stupor, and most of the time, it's impossible to even live your life. Now, I've tried medical marijuana, and I'm going to tell you something, it works. If you'd like more information about medical marijuana, you can contact the Marijuana Policy Project at mpp.org or call 1-877-JOIN-MPP.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Yeah, Free Talk Live. Open phones as always. Actually, I shouldn't say that because the phone lines are actually completely full.
Phones are packed.
But generally, it's open phones here. Up until the last few moments, we had open phones, and now you're there, or maybe you're there. If you are there, we will hopefully get you on the air with us. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And the captain.
And don't forget, you can join us online at freetalklive.com. You can also join us in real life at Forkfest 2021. Mark your calendar now.
Come party with us.
For June 28th. Through July 4th, because fact is, you probably won't be partying anywhere else. Very little chance of any parties going on.
Seems to be the likeliest of occurrences.
States for the foreseeable future, because they're saying that, even though you get a vaccine, you still got to socially distance, you still got to wear masks, you still got to do what we say. It's ridiculous. So if you're sick of all that crap, come on up to Forkfest.
Yes.
And you can go to forkfest.party to learn more about the event. It happens at a wonderful campground where they just didn't care about any of those nonsensical rules for the most part. They put up like a plexiglass shield and they didn't do much else in the office. Go to forkfest.party. That's forkfest.party, June 28th through July 4th. It's a decentralized libertarian camping festival. So if you don't want to hang out with libertarians, you shouldn't come. But if you think you like the ideas of freedom, you're going to have a great time at Forkfest. It's going to be a wonderful group of people. It was great this year. It's going to be great next year, I suspect. June 28th through July 4th, 2021, forkfest.party. And you can register your hotel or your motel room. They've got camping sites for RVs and just sort of normal tent camping as well. So
they have a couple of, I don't know what you'd call them, cottages, I guess?
Yeah, they do have like 4, I think.
Yeah,
3 or 4. And there's also park models, so if you want to like stay for longer, you could stay there for the whole summer if you want to. I mean, any excuse to come up and check out New Hampshire, you should totally do it. Forkfest.party. We go to more of your calls and thoughts. Ben is on the line in Charleston, South Carolina, listening to WTMA. Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, hey fellas, what's
Hey.
happening?
What's up?
I've talked to you a few times in the past,
Welcome back.
couple of months about a few things.
Okay, here you are
I
again.
think I told you about our livability court here.
Oh, yeah. What did they do at the livability court? I forget what they did there. Tell me that.
Remember, that's the fake court for everything that. It's the fake court for made-up laws for livability issues such as cutting your grass.
Oh,
right.
those guys. Okay.
Trash can.
Well, what were you calling about tonight?
Well, I was calling specifically, man, because I'm so sick, and forgive me for the rant, and I'm sure you guys have talked about this.
We like rants. Just don't say the F word, and you'll be fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, right.
Or the S word.
I'm so sick of people referring to frontline people and cops as heroes.
Oh, you know what you can do about that? You know what you can do about that? You can just go ahead and go up to the H of heroes and sort of turn it to the side and get yourself a Sharpie, turn it into a Z, so the heroes become zeros.
That's not very nice, Captain. I mean, they are people.
Well, listen, no, and you're right. They are people, man. But all through the pandemic, when I'm locked in my house, I hear about, and I see signs in people's yards thanking so much, for helping us, these first responders and this and that. And the police, and granted, in some cases they put their lives on the line, but these are all personal choices, man. I make a personal choice every morning to expose myself to whatever the world is going to throw at me.
Yep.
And the police are there to write a story about it after the fact.
Most of the time.
So, if anything, I think the citizens are the heroes, and the police are there to assist us heroes.
Well, I will say this. I mean, I definitely understand where you're coming from, and I tend to agree with you, right? Like, just because you're a doctor, just because you're a government bureaucrat or a police officer doesn't by default make you a hero.
Oh, but they want to believe that.
It makes you somebody with a job to do. Now, maybe you've taken a particular job that does have an extra level of risk, but you kind of knew that getting into it to some extent.
This guy in Brooklyn, with his this guy in Brooklyn with keeping his restaurant open and defying the mandates. He's a hero.
Yes.
This other story we probably won't get to for this guy in Port Orchard. He's a hero because he's keeping his restaurant open despite the mandates.
Against all kinds of adversity, right?
Yes.
And I, I get to listen to my mayor, and my city council, they're still meeting through Zoom, right? They haven't seen each other since the beginning of the pandemic.
Right.
So I get to see the mayor and the city councilman refer to the director of livability, who is like an unelected person. They just appoint him to this position of power as a hero. And as he's the guy who writes mask tickets. He's the guy who basically has targeted our entire industry. There's people in my industry that have gotten up to 4 mask tickets, and how in the world that is statistically possible with the amount of people here? I have no idea.
A hero is somebody who has to rise. A hero is somebody who has to rise above the norm. Okay, and so if you're a cop, I get that some people just want to say cops, all heroes. No. No, you're not a hero if you pull somebody over for doing 10 miles over the speed limit and you walk up to their window and write them a ticket. That's not heroism. You didn't your life might have been on the line if like the guy was a mass murderer and he shoots you or something like that. I mean, but the risk of that happening is near to zero.
There's this farcical commercial running in the state of Vermont that says the following: Vermont police write tickets to save lives. That verbatim.
What a lie. They write tickets to generate revenue,
right.
And that's it. Look, so to be a hero, you have to be, as dictionary.com points out here, extraordinarily bold, altruistic, determined, etc. So, if you're a cop and you go in and you actually save somebody from, a hostage situation, you save their life, okay. Heroic.
Or if you're the firefighter who risks his own life running into a burning building to save the baby or whatever, that's a hero.
But if you're the cop who shows up first on the scene at a school shooting and you cower outside behind a tree or a dumpster while you wait for your backup to show up, you're not a hero. Okay? You don't get to just be called a hero because you got a paycheck as a cop. You have to do something that's extraordinary.
Correct. And I'm not trying to beat up on the healthcare profession at all, and I do appreciate what they do.
Oh, yeah.
But that's also a choice that they have made, and they're rewarded handsomely for that.
Oh, the best example I saw of this was a meme online of, like, they showed a healthcare, like a nurse. They showed a picture of her looking all pretty or whatever, sort of normal, whatever, makeup, etc. And then they showed a picture of her after one of these days in the COVID, lab or whatever, and she's all like, torn up looking, and it's been a rough day, right? And then the comment was, yeah, that's not heroic. There's been a zillion entrepreneurs who look like that, after a rough day at work. I mean, a ton of people who actually work have a tough day at work pretty often. Go try working at a convenience store. Those people aren't being told that they're heroes.
The underlying theme is that it's all our fault for keeping this going. Our fault for keeping this virus going.
Right. Hey, if you didn't want to have stress, maybe you shouldn't have been a nurse.
There's a pro-mask meme where it shows a nurse and she looks tired. She goes, please mask up because I'm so tired.
It's ridiculous. Hey, thank you, Ben. Appreciate the call tonight. Your calls and thoughts are welcome as well. 855-450 free here on Free Talk Live.
Bitcoin.com is the best source for learning about cryptocurrency. Go there now, click on Get Started at the top of the page. Once you do that, you'll find a cornucopia of information, neatly organized for your needs. If you're a knowledgeable crypto user, check out news.bitcoin.com where you can get the latest headlines. Bitcoin.com is your source for buying cryptocurrency, getting a wallet app, mining, trading, and all the latest cryptocurrency news, all on a slick and easy-to-use website. All put together by the best minds in the business to teach you about cryptocurrency. Bitcoin.com. Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to divvyproject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from divvyproject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. divvyproject.org. DIVI project.org.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. I'm grateful to have heard from some of our satellite listeners recently. I appreciate knowing that people are out there who like what we do and are willing to support it financially. LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. We started a fundraiser on Patreon a few years ago to back the satellite channels. I recently announced that I was considering canceling the feeds, and donations increased from 15 to 20% of our costs, which are around $1,000 per month. That's a good start, and to incentivize more contributions, the Shire Free Church will be matching every dollar. Can we reach $500 per month? With your help, we can. You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both of the channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. fund.lrn.fm.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. We will take your calls about whatever's on your mind. You just have to dial in toll-free here at 855-450-FREE, but those phones are loaded up, so if you would like, you can connect with us on our chat server. Just go to chat.lrn.fm. There, it's pretty easy to connect with us that way. You can get the instructions there at chat.lrn.fm. And other Free Talk Live listeners, they are in there, and there's a variety of different rooms, of a variety of different subjects. With you in the studio, it's Ian.
And the Lord Reverend Captain Kickass is here.
We go back to your phone calls and your thoughts. First up, he's Terry, calling us from Ocean Shores, Washington, listening to KBKW. Go ahead, Terry.
Hey, how you doing tonight?
Good. What's on your mind, Terry?
Hey, I'm kind of conflicted, and I kind of need your guys' input on this.
All right.
My oldest son is armed private security in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
Handling, the situations that are happening down there. He graduated. He paid his way through college to get a law enforcement and criminal justice degree, double majors.
Mm-hmm.
I consider him a hero simply because of everything that he's done as the child of a single parent and everything he's had to accomplish. But you guys kind of touched on the basis of the private security thing earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd kind of be interested in knowing what your input is, on that, and what your opinion would be on I guess a conundrum that I'm having personally with that.
What is the conundrum? I'm not clear.
Pointing out the things with the police, okay, and what they've got to deal with, or what they're dealing with, and what they have to do, all the way around.
Okay, let me just
let
me just ask you
with that.
Let me just ask you a question, because I thought I heard you say that your son works for a private security force. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he does.
All right. So I get that as his father, that you would view him as a hero to you for accomplishing the things that he's done, and that's great. that a father would have that view of his son. We were talking off the air in the break here that one of the qualities I think that has to be in place for somebody to be considered a hero is risking their own life to save something, whether it's property or another person or an animal, something like that. That has to be involved. So, I
don't think you get to be a hero just because you graduated a class.
Right.
No, you're absolutely right. And in my opinion, every time he goes out and works at night as a private armed security specialist, high-end security specialist, that's what he's doing. He's putting his life on the line. It wouldn't be that much different than I was a special forces operator.
Okay.
And what my oldest boy is doing is not that much different than what I was doing.
What's the conundrum? I'm still not clear. Can you clear that up for me? You said you had some sort of conundrum. Can you summarize that?
Well, you're going back and forth between whether or not law enforcement are heroes or it's private security or...
We didn't go back and forth.
Where is the line on? Do you guys just revere... I mean, is it private security forces? Is it
we revere those who act on a voluntary basis. So if you are somebody who is doing business by consent, like private security does, you hire them for a task, and if they don't do a good job, you can get rid of them and hire a different company or form your own company or whatever. Whereas the police are not voluntary. They are using the threat of violence to dominate people, and that's not okay. That's the clear line. Is it voluntary? Is it consensual?
Blanket statement, really?
Huh?
That's your blanket statement that they are that police are there just to enforce, by force and that's it.
That's what they do. I mean, there are some times where they will go after a real bad guy, and I will thank them, when they go after a real bad guy. But by and large, their job is revenue collection for the government. They're writing tickets. They're harassing peaceful people. They're arresting teenagers and college students for possession of a glass of beer or some other drug or whatever. I mean,
harassing business owners for not complying with mask mandates.
Now threatening to destroy business owners' lives over some arbitrary so-called orders written by a man or a woman sitting in an office somewhere. I mean, these people are tools.
So to make sure I say this. I applaud your son for being in the private security profession.
Yeah, good for him.
Because that is a voluntary, consensual relationship.
Right.
He has we'll call it a certain set of skills. No
He's
pun
really
intended.
serving somebody.
He's actually serving somebody, and whoever he contracts with, if they don't like the work that he did, they can request somebody else or perhaps go hire a different company. So he has incentive to do the right thing, particularly where his contract is concerned.
Not only that, but he has incentive to actually be exceedingly better than the competition. Otherwise, he'll lose contracts and things like that.
I personally much rather your son be in the position that he's in than be a member of law enforcement.
I think it's great. Terry, thanks for the call tonight. I do appreciate hearing from you. Let's go to Ken. He's calling from Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, listening to WEEO FM. Go ahead, Ken. Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Hey, Ken. You're on the air.
Okay. What I want to talk about is Barack Obama was born in Kenya. He's not an American citizen, and he should have never, ever been on the ballot.
What year is it?
It's 2020. Ken.
I know that.
Okay.
I know that.
Would it have really mattered if it were Joe Biden who were the president for 8 years instead?
I don't know.
I'll tell you right now, it wouldn't have made a damn bit of difference. I mean, Barack Obama was basically George Bush III, and Biden, Joe Biden, is going to be George Bush IV or Barack Obama II. I mean, these people are all the same. So if all of a sudden, if your political fantasy had come true, and 2 years into the Obama administration, somebody had been, wait a minute. he didn't get on the ballot legally. Take that man out of office. Well, then you'd have just had Joe Biden in office, and it would have changed absolutely nothing. So there's so much ado that has been made over this. Oh, he was born in Kenya, as though it matters. And, it's ridiculous.
They're all the same, another empty suit with a different name.
Yeah, they're all a bunch of thugs who want to tell you how to live your life. One of them's no different than the other.
Well, I agree.
So what's the point of the call?
Well,
okay.
How would you like President Pelosi?
I don't want any president, dude.
Yeah, I'd rather be the president of myself.
Right?
Thank
Why
you very
does
much.
anybody want a president? What do they do for you?
That's a good question.
Indeed. Thank you, Ken. You can think about that. I appreciate the call. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. They don't do anything for you. None of them. Not the Congress people, not the senators, not the presidents, not the lower-level bureaucrats, not the state government goons. None of these people. Unless you're politically connected.
Right.
Unless you're laying money down to get favors, they don't do jack diddly for you.
And people continuously treat them as if they're celebrities.
They're sick. It's sick. These people are violent. Well, they themselves aren't violent. They have other people. They have the police to do their violence for them.
Yeah, they're too good to get their hands dirty.
They're psychopaths.
Cowards.
They're sociopaths. They're sickos, and yet people respect them. People look to them as though they're worthy of even talking about. And they're despicable. And all they do is they feed off of you.
That's it.
If you're a productive person, they tax you, and then they live large on you.
The stress levels of Americans may be at an all-time high. From education to business to basic needs to politics, the 2020 pandemic-related stressors are pushing many of us to near breaking point. That's why you should consider the stress and pain-relieving products from sunny-bay.com, like our lavender neck wraps and pads infused with premium Washington lavender buds. They relieve tension and relax with a soothing scent of lavender. And lifestyle expert Jennifer Bonner recommends products from Sunny Bay.
Sunny Bay's hands-free neck wrap should be your go-to pain relief solution.
Give gifts to family and friends that relieve stress and pain. Give love and care by giving the best. Give pillows, neck wraps, and body wraps from sunny-bay.com, a Biomed DB design company. Just click sunny-bay.com. That's sunny-bay.com.
We have all seen and perhaps used the alcohol-based hand sanitizers. Have you ever noticed how it dries your skin, and as soon as the alcohol evaporates, it's no longer effective? With bacteria and virus problems, sanitizers and hand washing are the first line of defense against infectious disease. GCNteam.com has alcohol-free antibacterial soap and foam meeting or exceeding all requirements as set forth by the United States Food and Drug Administration as a first aid antiseptic. When it comes to sanitizers, it only makes sense that it lasts till the next application and doesn't dry and crack your skin, inviting infection. For long-lasting alcohol-free sanitizing, come to GCNteam.com keyword antibacterial. That's GCNteam.com, antibacterial, or call 877-878-4203. 877-878-4203.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Live video of our key New Hampshire-based shows is streamed on DLive. Please follow and share at dlive.lrn.fm. That's dlive.lrn.fm.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. Moments remain, but enough time for you if you call now. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Also, join us online at freetalklive.com. We do also have an email list to which you can subscribe easily by going to freetalklive.com.
Again, what year is it?
Wow. Hey, man. Emails are still reliable.
No, I'm with you, but like, wow. Bringing up the old stuff.
Yeah. Oldies are goodies in certain circumstances, and this one, it works. So if you want to get the latest on what's going on with Free Talk Live, when I feel like sending it to you, you can go. I used to say weekly. Now it's like, yeah, whatever.
Don't get me wrong. I am on the list, so like I get the emails when you send them.
So go to freetalklive.com, scroll all the way down the page, and you'll find it. It's pretty much at the bottom of every page of the website over at freetalklive.com, the email sign up. Let's go to Steve. He's in Connecticut. Steve, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, Ian. Hey. Hey, Ian. Hey, Captain.
Hey, Steve.
You're a political refugee from Connecticut.
What's going on, man?
Hey, Steve.
Hey, I'm still reeling on that Kenya call, but I was calling to talk about the police and how, if you make the police almost like a public utility, you buy it as you need it.
You know, say what you want about the police, but they were a pretty good band.
Mm.
I'd pay more for Sting than Stuart Copeland.
Hell yeah.
But you would almost make it like AAA. You know, at the beginning of the year, if you don't need the police to show up at your house, you don't pay it. But if you get a flat tire, you need the police.
Why can't you just subscribe to a service like you do with, your car insurance?
I think that's what he was talking about, AAA. He was saying that cops should be like AAA.
Oh, I thought he was saying make them a public utility.
Well, it's somewhere in between public utility and AAA. But
Okay.
you make it privatized where, it's almost like a restaurant. Hey, I like this restaurant. I'm going to go to that restaurant.
So what you do, though, is you take it to the next level. Instead of just having one service provider, you can have more than one. And you don't prohibit other people from offering services in the same way. So like right now, if we went out there, and we wouldn't do this because we're not experts in the field, but if we went out and started up our own protection service.
It might be funny if we did, though.
The cops would determine we are a competing gang, and they would take us down.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And
they don't like competition.
Yeah. So, but interestingly, if you looked at the Detroit, there's the Threat Management Center, I believe is the name of the organization there. So Detroit, of course, as you probably know, things are pretty bad in most of the city, or a good chunk of the city there. And some of the cops, the government cops, have actually backed out, and there's certain areas they just won't even go to. If you call them, they're not coming. And some of their bureaus or whatever, their departments, they don't even have nighttime hours. So if you've got a crime to report, you got to wait till the next day. So the marketplace has sort of been filling in the gaps there with the Threat Management Center or Threat Defense Center. I forget which.
I think it's TMC.
TMC, Threat Management Center, where you can actually hire these private security guys to come in to, if you just want them to drive around the neighborhood and, once an hour or once every 3 hours or whatever, or if you want 24-hour protection, they, somebody that's there with you all the time. So they've got the whole, the whole range of different services that people can hire them to do. They'll even train you on how to use weapons and, self-defense tactics. So, having those things would be really nice, wouldn't they?
Right. So you could have, all right, for $100 a year, I have a basic direct line phone call to that security department.
Mm-hmm.
But if I need a 911 call to them, it may cost me $500 for them to show up.
Right.
So you scale it to how much you use. If I happen to have a lot of firearms in my house and I can protect myself, well, so be it. I don't need the protection. But there has to be something, there must be something like, with public roads, there has to be some type of, to scale back. I mean, I live in Connecticut where we have 2 resident troopers, just state troopers that patrol the entire town. We have 7,000 people.
Yeah.
So I don't know why a town like Winchester, who has, there's 4,000 people, they've got 8 cops.
Wow.
Like, why do they need that?
Wow.
Why?
Well, Winchester, you're talking about New Hampshire. It is sort of known around here as one of the more corrupt towns, so that's probably why. The good old
that
boys.
makes me feel better.
Yeah, the good old boys are everywhere, though. So everybody always says, "Oh, our town's cops are the worst." Well, that's because you live there, and you know how bad they are. But it turns out there's a lot of them everywhere. Steve, thanks for calling tonight, man. I appreciate hearing from you as always. Let's talk to David in New Mexico. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, David.
Yeah, thanks for tuning into the David Olson Show.
Welcome.
Yeah. So I'm really depressed because, like, Raul Torres, the Bernalillo County, New Mexico DA, keeps surrendering to me 3 out of 4 times. So, yeah. So it's really depressing.
Shouldn't you feel victorious about that?
Well, I do for a minute, and then I realize I'm slowly getting fewer and fewer fights to fight against the state of New Mexico, the corrupt bastard.
See, now that would make me feel good. I don't like fighting these people. I would rather be left alone.
Well, I don't like it either. But you kind of turn into a little bit of an adrenaline junkie when bullies keep attacking you unlawfully. You get a shot of adrenaline, like I'm getting right now.
You know what you could do?
You like to fight.
You know what you could do, David? You could start a talk show.
I think he just said he did. David Olson Show.
I've got one, man. You're listening to it right now.
Oh, I'm on it. Oh, wow.
We're sampling his show here.
Hey, I know you. You're tonight's musical guest, Captain Kickass. Lord Captain Kickass.com.
Good call. Thank you, David.
It's
I appreciate
actually
it, man.
LordKickass.com.
Yeah, LordKickass.com. Hey, yeah, and check out Captain Kickass's latest track that he worked very hard on all year long.
It's called Wear the Face Diaper.
Yeah, and it's available now for playback or download.
Yep.
At LordKickass.com. Robert is in Charleston, South Carolina, listening to WTMA. Go ahead, Robert.
Yes, I just wanted to ask again. Now, you think that, for example, we don't need a president of the United States to speak in the name of our country?
I don't think we need a United States.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but my grandfather once said to me that the government is a necessary evil. So don't forget both of those
evil's
words.
not necessary.
Yeah, evil is never necessary.
Well, evil is not necessary. That's true. But on the other hand, there are certain
Well, then your grandfather was wrong.
Well, no. I don't mean it. You know what I mean.
No, I don't. I find you very confusing, actually.
Okay. Let me try to explain. You've got to have somebody to basically head the country and to explain.
No, we don't. Just because you say so doesn't mean we do.
All right. What about to speak for the country under certain circumstances?
The country cannot be spoken for. The country is just a concept. There are individuals within this plot of land, and they all disagree on stuff. So there's no one who can speak for you and me. You and I don't agree on things. So there's no one who can represent us.
I prefer to speak for myself at all times.
All right.
There's no reason I can't represent myself in all matters.
Right.
What happens if a foreign country declares war on us? Now,
I don't care.
What do you think?
We'll fight them off.
Okay, you know how fast the Chinese. I'm not going to say any country in particular. Do you know how fast our adversaries would be in here?
That's a
Everybody
lie.
Would
You know what? That's
them.
such BS, Robert. It's such fear-mongering nonsense. And the reason why, look, there's plenty of tiny little countries out there all around the planet. There's actually a neat little graphic where you can see the landmass of each country
with barely any government at all.
Yeah, and they don't need the world's largest military to protect them, okay? Because China isn't invading most of the countries on the planet. And not only are we far away, but also we're their best customer, number one, so you don't want to kill the golden goose. But number two, we also are armed to the teeth, at least in a lot of states.
Yes.
Maybe not so much in California.
Compared to any other, quote, country, unquote.
But yeah, there's the old apocryphal quote from Admiral Yamamoto that said, the reason the Japanese didn't invade the American mainland was because there'd be a rifle behind every blade of grass.
Yeah.
And there's some truth to that concept.
Well, yeah, look at Afghanistan. How many empires have tried to take over that place.
And died there?
And died there. They go there to die. They're called the Empire Killers for a reason, and that's because they can't deal with everybody being armed. It's just not possible.
And it's hard to invade a place generally, right? Because now you're going up against defensive tactics, right? And if you're really worried about it, then buy a tank. Okay, get together with your neighbors, form a defense fund or whatever, or hire private companies like we were just talking about with private security. The whole idea that you have to have some government monopoly to provide you with defense. I came up against this the other day. I was at some rally. I forget which one. There was some right wing. Oh, it was the governor's house. We were at the governor's house. And I was passing out my secession flyers, and I came across one lady who said she'd already gotten one because I'd been to a few different events and she'd gotten one before. And so I said, well, what did you think of it? And she says, well, I like, kind of where you're coming from, but... And then the thing about the military came up because, you can't have a conservative without their love of the military, right? And so, these people believe that no matter how bad the government gang is, they hate Joe Biden, they hate, all these things they don't like about it, they still love themselves a centralized, one-size-fits-all, tremendously expensive, multi-trillion-dollar military, as though it's going to do something to save them. And the reality is we could protect ourselves. We would be fine, just like most of the rest of the world is fine.
Right.
Thank you for the call tonight, Robert. I appreciate it. Check out LordKickass.com for more of Captain Kickass.
Hey, thanks, man.
And he'll be back tomorrow night, actually, to head up the Sunday night show. And in the meantime, you can join us online over at freetalklive.com. Don't forget to hop on our chat server. It's there 24 hours a day. I almost said 27 hours a day. You can do that at chat.lrn.fm. Have a great weekend.
Mounds and mounds of fur. Our hairballs have hairballs. Our cat Mama, she's 10 years old. She has dandruff and an oily coat.
I have two cats, Dixie and Daisy. Daisy sheds like crazy.
If you love your pets as much as I do, you want to do what's best for them to live long, healthy, happy